Hello friends! For this reading vlog, we are going to be reading Matt Haig, and you are seeing me on the day that I did the final Poppy War update where I couldn't stop crying. It's already 10:30 and I'm only 50 pages in The Humans, but it's been hilarious. Like, I've laughed out loud multiple times already, 50 pages in. It's going to be one of those things that are existential, but also hilarious, and so I'm really enjoying it so far. The reason why I started reading Matt Haig is because I was invited to join this readathon by a booktuber that I'm following. I was invited over on Goodreads. I don't know if she knows who I am or, she just invited me because I'm her friend on Goodreads, but I was invited to join the Midnight Library readathon that's going to be happening next week, actually, starting I think Monday. So we're going to be reading a few chapters every day throughout the week and finish Midnight Library by that time. So my goal is to finish this tomorrow. It's a short book and I'm not really doing anything tomorrow, so let's see how it's going to go, but I'm really having a lot of fun with this one. Also, update on my COVID. I still don't feel anything. I don't really feel anything out of the ordinary. I was worried because I was getting a headache earlier, but I feel like I get headaches often. So to me, it's like, is it or is it not? Probably COVID, I don't know. And I have taken my temperature like 10 minutes ago and normal, nothing there. Again, no sore throat, no coughs or colds. Still pretty optimistic. So that's my update. I'm excited though. Been wanting to read Matt Haig. I forgot to mention that it was a book olive who invited me to the readathon for the Midnight Library. I've heard many mixed things about that, but we'll see what I think about it, because earlier today I've also seen somebody over on BookTube talk about how she didn't like the Midnight Library. It's included in her worst books of 2021, and she explained it, and so I'm a little afraid going into this book if I'm going to dislike it, because based on what she said about certain elements in the book, probably going to dislike it. So we'll see. I don't know how that experience is going to be, but again, so far The Humans is very hilarious. Not much progress yet, but I forgot to mention one thing that I remember thinking at the beginning of reading this book. So the premise of the story is the main character, Professor Andrew, discovered something that the aliens believe we are not ready to discover yet. So it's a very big discovery. And so they send this alien, I was gonna call him person, like, no, he's not a person, he's an alien, to inhabit Professor Andrew's body instead and kind of get rid of every evidence of this discovery that he made, because it will, I think, spell the end of the earth, something like that. One thing is, right at the very beginning, it's been established that humans are very far behind in terms of technology, in terms of development. They were described as like mid-level intelligence. I don't know why I'm saying they. It's we. We were described as mid-level intelligence. Our civilization is technological advancements are very far behind compared to other species in the universe. For a creature to be described that's much more advanced than humans, he's taken into this body without any kind of preparation. In the beginning, he couldn't really speak words. Like, he can understand the language, but he couldn't speak it yet, because even though he is smarter, he needed to have like a certain amount of input from other people so that he can actually like express himself in our language. And he doesn't know. And the thing is, he's like so unprepared, right? So he can't speak, right? And he doesn't understand the way human world works, the way our society works. And for someone who's trying to pretend to be this human that he's inhabiting, he doesn't know anything about him. He doesn't know anything outside of his name and that he has a wife and his son. He doesn't even know where he lives. He doesn't even know the address. He doesn't know how to navigate our world. And you would think that they would have him prepared, and it would be easy for him to be prepared to know things about Professor Andrew so that he can actually acclimate well into his role, into who he's trying to be. Even if he might come off as acting a little bit weird, acting a little bit off, at least he would know how to kind of, hold himself, or how the society works. Because Professor Andrew was abducted and he's dead. Now it's the alien inhabiting his body. And when he was back to Earth, he was naked, and he was walking around naked with no clue where he was and how to get to wherever he needed to go. And it's like, how are you supposed to not have any troubles inhabiting this person's life when you don't know anything about him except for his name and that he has a wife and a son? You don't know how to act as a human. For someone that is supposed to be very smart and has certain gifts and capabilities way above what humans can, how are you so unprepared for this? It's like the basic thing. You're inhabiting somebody's life, and you should know how their life works. I don't know. That's the only thing that I picked up like very early on, because very early on we were seeing him like walking around in the middle of the street naked, and he got hit by a car because he was just standing there because he didn't know what a car was. He didn't know what a road was. I don't know. That's my observation for now. It's still really funny though, and a really interesting read. And now he had access to the internet, right? And he was able to memorize how to get to his work, to Professor Andrew's work, to access his computers and access his research and stuff, and delete everything that needed to be deleted. But then he doesn't research about society and how to act around other people. It will only take him a few minutes to do it because he's a higher level being or creature. I don't know. It's not making sense to me, So that's some of my few initial thoughts so far. Oh, and he decides to ride the bike to go to the Cambridge University, which usually is what Professor Andrew does and, uses. But he says he has trouble with the laws of the roads. And I'm like, he could have easily Googled that. And I don't understand why he wasn't able to find that out, even though he was able to find out how to go to his place of work, but doesn't try to find out the laws of the road, as he said. But I don't know, it's just not making sense to me that he's supposed to be super smart, and it's... I don't know. Okay, so he found a document. So he said... So, without so much as a thought, or they said, because I don't know their pronouns, so I'm going to use they. I should have used they in the beginning, okay. So they said, so without so much as a second thought, I deleted the document, feeling a small rush of pride as I did so. There, I told myself, you may have just managed to save the universe, but of course, things are never that simple, not even on Earth. That was my first thought. I was like, you deleted it, but you have to delete it from the recycle bin, and you have to make sure that there are no copies of it anywhere else. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like he should have been more thorough about it. I don't know. I stopped here. We'll see what happens next, because the next chapter is just 1 page and 2 lines, and it says, a moment of sheer terror, and there was an equation. Might be the part of the solution for the Raymond's theory. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I feel like they should have thought about it if they were way superior in terms of intelligence and advancement, right? Or was it because of that thinking of superiority that, it probably would just be that simple? I don't know. I'm not sure. Alright, so he found an email that's where the document was sent. Like, the document that he deleted was sent to somebody else. And he figured out through the internet who it was, and an idea of what the relationship is between that person and Andrew, plus where he's working now. So, I don't know, because he's been saying in the beginning, everybody who knew about this needs to die. So, we'll see. I don't know. They're also in contact with the other creatures that put them here. I don't know why those creatures who sent them are not intervening with what they're doing. In other words, that they've been fumbling, and like actually provide them information on how to blend much more seamlessly than they have. Hello. I am halfway through The Humans. Today is Sunday, January 15th? 16th. January 6th. It's okay. I kind of, was expecting kind of where the story was going, or, the revelations and the changes in the character because of, what he was discovering. He spends more time with us humans. There's really not much. In terms of, like, my COVID, I'm pretty sure I do have COVID. I've been feeling a little bit lethargic throughout the day. Not too bad. Just a bit more tired than usual. A little bit tired, just a little bit. I was a little bit dizzy. I can tell that I'm sick. I don't have a fever, but I do have a sore throat. I don't know if you can hear it, but I woke up with a sore throat. So, very mild symptoms as of right now. I was trying to find some appointments near me, but everything from the next 3 days are all booked. So I couldn't find any appointment. And I asked my brother if he could buy me like a few tests. I don't think he did, but so yeah, that's it for right now. I'm pretty sure I do have COVID. It's really annoying, honestly. So hoping I would never get it, because I'm just staying home. I don't leave the house except for when I go to work. And I'm always really careful when I am outside. And it's really annoying to get it. And I know that I'm probably not going to, have any lasting effects because of, right now I don't have, even really bad, and I have my booster shot. Just really annoying that I have to. It's so inconvenient. It's annoying. And, it you feel miserable when you're sick, even if it's just a slight sickness. And I know people have it hard, but that's the thing. It's like, it's a thing that we could have prevented, that we could have probably not made worse if you all just listen to people who are actually qualified about these things, about what we should have done right from the beginning. It brings out my frustration about all of this. Except for right now, not much thought in the book. It's going where I'm expecting it to go. So, I just wanted to update you guys on that. And then, yeah, I haven't started Midnight Library yet. I want to finish this tonight, although I doubt it, and read, because I only need to read 40 pages a day for the book, so it's probably just going to take me, I don't know, 40 minutes to read. Planning on finishing this and then maybe starting Midnight Library. We'll see. Hello. So I finished Demons. Okay, so aside from that first part where it was very rocky in terms of like the logic, and that middle part where everything was just kind of like, I expected this to happen, by the ending, I did empathize a lot with the main character and everything they were going through, and the way that they've changed and have learned what it is to be human, and the existence of humans and the whole shebang. I did empathize with them. It wasn't, I guess, I wouldn't say I have a really high expectation for this one, because I kind of already knew what the point of this book was. Just, by the premise itself. It's about an alien, going down to Earth and, having a mission, and, that mission getting derailed as they learn more about humans and what it means to be humans, and, changing their perspective about and on humans. I guess because that beginning affected very much the way that I thought throughout this book about the character and the fact that they are an alien, and that's it. I don't really have a lot of thoughts. It was fine. It was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't very logical. I feel like that affected the way that I felt about the main character. I couldn't fully wrap my head around, all the difficulties that they were going through, because it felt like it wouldn't be difficulties based on their capabilities, So that's it. For the Humans, it was okay. Went as I expected it to go. I think I'll just start the Midnight Library tomorrow. Just go to sleep now because it's almost 12 a.m. So yeah, that's it for the Humans. Hello friends. As I mentioned before, I was invited to the Midnight Library read-along by Olive from A Book Olive over here in BookTube, and I just finished. This was supposed to be for yesterday, like the first part, the day one of the readathon. I'm planning on reading the second chapters in a little while, but I wanted to do an update on here based on those breakdowns as well. Okay, so first impressions. I had a hard time kind of getting into the story, especially the first 30 pages, I think. I just wasn't hooked. I just wasn't drawn in as much as I wish I was, because I feel like it's a book that you really should be sucked into, because it deals with a very heavy topic with a very interesting premise of having second chances, second, third, fourth, and just seeing where your life could have headed if you had made different choices at different points in your life. Nora is a character that we don't really get much of yet, especially at the point where she had already committed to taking her life. The first line is 19 years before she decided to die, and then the second chapter is it's like the prologue, and then we're picking up 19 years later, and it's 27 hours before Nora, our main character, decides to end her life. We are stopping right when she got to the Midnight Library and when she picked up her first book of the life based on her book of regrets. She was giving this book of regret of like her regrets from throughout her entire life, and her first choice was going to be based on which of these regrets she wanted to change or like tackle. I did kind of see, although we don't really like dwell much into Nora's background yet, I think I could see why or what led to her wanting to end her life. She was described to have, she said that she had situational depression, so she does have depression, and based on the information that I've gathered, she grew up as a gifted child. She did really well in school, and she used to be a really great swimmer. Like, she had like records at a very young age of being a very fast swimmer, and she has gone through life and kept changing where she wanted to go. Like, she was part of a band as well, she was interested in taking care of animals as well, and she's interested in music. She used to be a swimmer, and she was also really good with different kind of hard sciences, like outside of being a vet. There's also like a glaciologist, and then she also has a major in, like, she has a degree in philosophy, so she has a lot of different areas that she was interested in, but I feel like she has like kind of lost interest in, and I feel like throughout her life has just wanted to find what's going to be like her passion, but she never was able to find it, even though she would excel in a lot of the different things that she would be interested in. But she would lose, I think it's not really lose interest in, but kind of there's always like an anxiety related to whenever she would do and be good at something. Like, I feel like it's also a fear of failing, because people have high expectations of her. She's getting a lot of pressure from other people outside of even her own family whenever she does good at something, because then people are now watching her and seeing where she would go. And so, before she would actually fail, or when she starts failing, that's when she quit and stopped. And I really relate to that a lot. She's very high achieving. She's very much capable, but because of the pressure of being afraid and being anxious of failing and not doing well as a lot of people expect her to be, or like losing the kind of momentum, it makes her not want to continue doing it. And I understand that completely. And I feel like because she has kind of not really found the thing that makes her happy, the thing that gives her purpose, and especially at the point in her life at 35, and looking back on her life feeling like she has just failed at everything else that she has done, can see why. She mentioned that she realized that she didn't want to wake up to tomorrow, and that's when she decided to end her life. And I understand it very well. And even though we don't get to know much of her yet, I've had like enough glimpses of, the regrets that she has had, the kind of relationships that she has had with her family, with her loved ones, and with almost being married and losing her parents, or like losing the relationship that she had with her brother, the love that she had for these different passions that she has throughout her life, feeling aimless and feeling like there's no point in getting to tomorrow, and therefore deciding to end her life. I completely understand that. I can see that. And again, it's not a lot, but enough for me to see where she was at, like mentally, understand eventually her decisions yet. And I think as we go through the novels, we will get to know even more Nora's life and delve deeper into these relationships that she has a lot of regret about. So yes, a lot of differing thoughts. Again, the first part, I think the first 30 pages, I was very much hooked, as much as I wish I was, or as much as I expected, and I feel like I should have been, especially with this kind of book and the kind of topic that it's dealing with. Again, take a little bit of break, like prepare for bed, and read the rest of the second day chapters, and I will update you guys then. Hello. So I finished the second day sections of the book, and now we're really into Nora trying out or going through the different lives, and there's a lot more realization now. I have a lot of thoughts, but they're spoilery. So it's kind of proving what I predicted would be like the realizations throughout this book, thinking you would be much happier had you made a different choice, and seeing that whatever those choices are, you can't ever really know what the consequences of them are going to be, even though you would think that, at a certain point in your life, if you had gone back and made a different choice, you wouldn't know it, of course. But then there's always going to be unexpected things of where your life is going to go, whether you think you're going to make the right choice or not. We always make choices every day of what we do and what we say, and where like major life choices where it will change a huge chunk of the course of our lives, and we can always have best outlook on it. And at the moment, we always think that that choice is going to be the best choice that we can make, or is what is going to make us happiest. But we never know what's going to happen. Actually, of course, we have an idea of how our life will look like after we make those choices, but we can never really predict where life will go. I think I'm gonna stop here. I'm not gonna continue. I need to go to sleep. But that's it for this date for today, and I will see you guys later today. Hello. I am 140 pages in the Midnight Library. I'm reading ahead. I was supposed to stop at I think 120 something. I'm gonna read ahead one day. 40 pages a day is a bit too little. I'm just it's good that I get a break and process those 40 pages, but still, it's a bit too short. So the first 120 pages, which is almost half of the book, I want to say, close to half, had started to feel very formulaic, because she goes to this life that she wants to try out. She goes back, she picks another one, goes back, she picks another one. It's kind of we're getting it, but it's kind of still the same a little bit. It's the same kind of feeling that I would get. It's not the right kind of life for her, or a lot of the decision that she has made that led to this life is always heavily relying on other people, whether it's expectation or other people's happiness or pressure from other people. It's kind of the same thing. That she's slowly learning that. And so right now there is an element that is introduced to the story that actually kind of pulls me out of the formulaic situation that's been going on since the start of the book. So I'm really appreciating that. And we're learning a little bit more of Nora as well. I mean, we learn a lot about her. I mean, for me personally, I picked up a lot about her in the first part already. Like, there's already like ways she does incest, and you know how she sees things that I pick up on, and it tells me a lot about her character. And it's the same thing as we follow her and her different. Also, I did a test today and I am positive. I did an at-home test. I mean, I knew I was, but now it's like officially confirmed. And I only had one test because there was only like one available. We got it from a friend, I don't know who. So it's supposed to have two in there, but there was only one. And I mean, I only needed the one positive. If it came out negative, then I would need to take another one. I researched it, and at-home tests have more chance to give a false negative than they are to give false positives. So if you did get a positive with an at-home test, you're most likely, like 99%, I guess, are positive. I'm supposed to take a test, like a PCR test tomorrow. Honestly, I didn't want to go because I'm not feeling well and I don't want to drive and all that. So I'm not going. I'm just staying home. I already got positive tests, and we ordered a few tests as well online. So yeah, the free COVID test. Great, thankfully it started now, but it's gonna take probably like 2 weeks until we get all of it. And there's a limit of like 4 every household, and it's like there's 5 of us in here. And I'm pretty sure that, we're gonna need at least some extras to be sure that, either they're negative, especially if it comes out negative, So yeah, that's it for right now. Update you guys in a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'll just update you guys tomorrow, but we'll see where this story goes for now, because again, been feeling a little bit, formulaic and the same thing over and over. And it's good that there's an element now that's added in here that kind of adding a little bit more attention to the story and keeping more of my attention. So I will continue reading. Hello. So I've read, I think 2 days ahead already, or like a day ahead. I've already started day 6, I think, of the book. I was very close to kind of like softly seeing if I will DNF this book, because it was starting to feel a little too similar, like formulaic. So like I think I mentioned in the previous update, I really like that we kind of got something like a different kind of element, and now we've gone over that one. I was actually really disappointed that we didn't explore that just a little bit more. Hopefully we had a chance a little bit more in the book, but there's only, I think I only have 100 pages left. No, yeah, less than. I only have 80 pages left, so I don't know if we will explore that. But the lives after that one were very interesting in that they don't feel as formulaic as the previous lives were. It is a little bit frustrating to kind of go into anything at all, but having to like navigate it through, the way people interact with her and where she was in life, because that was just a little bit frustrating to read. I feel like if I were in that position, I would be so nervous, anxious about people seeing me weirdly, but like it's still me. It's just that I don't remember this life. I really like 2 lives that we've seen so far. One, they're kind of like contrasting with each other, because one is like very fast paced, very busy, very loud, while the other one is a more quiet life, a more gentle life. I really actually appreciated that life too, even though we didn't really spend a lot of time. It just felt a lot more tender and a lot more calming. It's not boring per se, but it's not as tense as her other lives had been, to be completely honest. So I will be continuing reading this. I want to finish this tonight. I'll finish this in a little bit and start to do my next vlog. Overall, it does feel underwhelming. It does still hook me. Like, I'm still reading it, I'm not DNFing it, but I feel like I know where the story has already been going, and kind of like already knew what, like, the kind of lessons that she will learn, and it wasn't done in a way that I felt was different or unique. So it's okay so far. And so it's a little bit underwhelming because a lot of people love Matt Haig, but I've also heard like positive and good things about this book. And I am kind of seeing where, based from like the negative reviews that I've seen of this book, where this stems from. And I do hope that there's some kind of discussion about that certain element, because, well, okay, it's not really spoilery because the main character does commit suicide. That's why she's in the minute library. And so far we haven't really discussed anything about her in her current mental state, or like the mental state that she had that led her to committing suicide. And I don't want to mention anything spoilery, but I think we see see throughout her life, because the idea is she goes back to the library if she feels discontent with this life. Like she doesn't want to stay in that life, so she's not staying there. We only like spend like a few hours in those lives. I don't think we ever really had like her like sleep and then wake up in that same life. She always goes back within that same day that she came in, so, or like within a few hours. So you can definitely tell that she's very discontent with, you know, the choices that she has made. And so we don't really see any kind of discussion about her mental state and how that is shown in her different lives. I mean, we can see it in those lives because in a lot of her lives there is evidence of that, of a very similar mental state that she had when she committed suicide, like her original life, her root. That's it for right now. I'll read a little bit more and see where this book takes us. I finished The Midnight Library way ahead of when I'm supposed to because it's super short and it's readable. So, you know, it's a quick read. I didn't like it. I think it was pretty evident from the start of when I read this that it's probably not going to be something that I would enjoy. I do have tabs, but I have a few things, okay? But I will say, a lot of the things that I will say is very similar to Cindy's review from With Cindy of The Midnight Library. I literally rewatched it because I remember watching the video because I remember she was cooking while she was talking about The Midnight Library. I rewatched it. I was like, yep, that's exactly what I thought. So I'm gonna link it somewhere here, wherever. Overall, very heavy-handed with, you know, how profound it's supposed to be. It's not very subtle with the lessons that you're supposed to be learning on this. Literally, my tabs are, I think majority of these are like the lesson of the day or the lesson of the chapter or the lesson of the last few chapters, like the nugget that you get. No subtlety in here. And I feel like that was kind of the point. It's supposed to be that kind of book. So, you know, went ahead and read it. And then Nora. Our character Nora. We started to really get to know her a little bit in the beginning. I know I've heard some people say that they didn't really get to know Nora in the first part of the book before we started to follow her living the different lives. And to me, I picked up quite a bit of, you know, how she felt about her life, how she felt about herself and what she has done with her life and like her current feelings with her life based on just those little things that she does. To me personally, I picked it up. And so I had a good idea on where she was, especially mentally, I think. So when we started with the middle library kind of thing, I didn't feel like we were jumping off without having like a good grasp of Nora as a character. And the idea is we would get to know Nora a little bit more, or even more, as we follow her experiencing these different lives and learning about her regrets, especially we know with her book of regret, and then her starting to like choose which parts of her life she wanted to change a little bit, or she wanted to make a different choice of, or if she had made a different choice during that time. By the middle of it, I was feeling very at the like almost, I think after the first third, I was feeling very formulaic, as I mentioned before, very repetitive. And then we had an element included that added a little bit of like spice, I guess you could say, to the story, which made me, you know, stay on and kind of not just like force myself to just continue and see where it goes. I was really enjoying it. And after that, we also had a different life that was just a little bit more different, interesting to follow, and then it kind of just followed throughout. And then that's when we started to see Nora change a little bit more with the different lives that she lives, because it was very slow with the first few chapters, the lives that she has lived, especially even after we met that person that I mentioned that kind of changed. And then we kind of fast forward to her living through different lives, and so suddenly she has lived probably like 100 lives at that point until we, you know, got to the end. And I already kind of knew where it was going to end. I had two ideas of where it could go, right, or how it will end. I kind of like see it coming, and I understood where or how a little bit. But then we got to that end, we kind of swept under the rug the whole fact that Nora was suffering from depression in her root life because, you know, she committed suicide. I think, yeah, the whole book is really just like for people who have the same feelings and probably like, you know, help them with those feelings. But I don't think it was very effective in that because I feel like it didn't really talk about it very well. Depression is very, and for a lot of people I know that this book might be like a really great book for them, but there's also a lot of people who will feel like this book was not the best in terms of dealing with depression, suicidal thought, and ideation, and all that, because it presented a very kind of straight line in the experience of having depression. It's like a very one path kind of thing. And depression is very different in different people, and how they deal with depression, how they are helped, or how they get better, or how they deal with depression, and how they eventually will find, or how they are treated with their depression is very different for everybody, because there's a lot of different reasons or like different manifestations of depression for people. So, you know, the treatment, and for that it's going to be different. And for this one, I felt like it was very just one track kind of thing with depression. It's effective in one way, but ineffective in a lot of different ways. And I saw what it was trying to do, but didn't leave like an open door for a different kind of interpretation or a different way of seeing things aside from what this book was trying to do. And so I feel like it's helpful but also not, depending on where you stand in terms of your mental health or somebody else's in terms of how you see your mental health or how you see mental health. To me, the writing, I kind of lost Nora with all the things that she was experiencing, and it's kind of like she was just a conduit to these like profound lessons and thoughts and all this stuff. I kind of lost that character as we went on with the book. I feel like the book kind of focused more on what it was trying to like the end goal of the book. My two Matt Haig books that are very highly hyped, and I thought I will like as well, or at least one I will like very well, will have turned out to be very underwhelming. Not bad, but just underwhelming. And so I don't know, I don't think I'm gonna read any more of Matt Haig books, because I feel like his books probably are not for me, but maybe I'll try his nonfiction books, because he does write nonfictions as well, and I've heard a lot of great things about his nonfictions, so maybe I'll try. But for now, that's it for my Matt Haig reading vlog. Underwhelmed. Maybe I'll try his nonfictions. We'll see. But that is it for this video. That is it for this vlog. Thank you so much for sticking with me while I'm sick. The next reading vlog is still probably going to be me sick for maybe the half of it, but I'm excited for that one as well. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on these books if you have read them. I know the Humans of the Midnight Library are very highly hyped books, and a lot of people have read them, so you guys have probably already read them. Again, thoughts down below if you have any, and I will see you on my next video.